right, dividing a polynomial by a binomial. So we can use factoring to divide a polynomial by a binomial. Follow the steps below to divide the polynomials. So the very first thing that we want to do, we're going to use this example right here, is first we want to factor out the numerator. So what multiplies together to give you -8 and adds together to give you 7? Well, that's 8 and -1. So we say x plus 8 and x minus 1. Okay, so notice here we have a factor that's the same in the numerator as the denominator. So all you want to do here is these two are going to cancel each other out, and you're left with x plus 8 as your answer. Okay, so some more examples of that. So on number 1, so the numerator, we want to factor it. So what multiplies to give you 21 and adds to give you -10? Well, that's going to be -7 and -3. So you say x minus 7, x minus 3. Okay, we have common factors here, so those are going to cancel each other out. So you're left with x minus 3 as your answer. Number 2, factor the numerator. So what multiplies to give you -45 and adds to give you -4? -9 and 5. So you say m minus 9, m plus 5. We have common factors here. They cancel each other out. You're left with m plus 5 as your answer. Number 3, the numerator, we want to factor it. We can do difference of squares. So we have y plus 5, y minus 5. We have common factors that cancel, so you're left with y minus 5 as your answer. Number 4, we have a greatest common factor that we can take out. We can take a 2r out of both of those. So then 2r squared divided by 2r is r. 16r divided by 2r is 8. Okay, we have common factors here that cancel, so you're left with 2r as your answer. Number 5, we need to do the slip and slide method because we don't have a greatest common factor we can take out. So we're going to take the 2, slip it down here to the end, so that we have n squared plus 5n, and then 2 times -12 is -24. What multiplies to give you -24 and adds to give you 5 is 8 and -3. So you have n plus 8, n minus 3. From there, because we multiply times 2 here, we have to divide by 2 here. So we have n plus 4. This fraction does not simplify, so take the denominator, slide it up, and so we have 2n minus 3. So our factors here are n plus 4 and 2n minus 3, and we're dividing by 2n minus 3. We have common factors that cancel, so we're left with n plus 4 as our answer. On number 6, we have a greatest common factor that we can take out of this. We can take a 5 out of both of those. So 15v divided by 5 is 3v. 35 divided by 5 is 7. Common factors here that cancel, so we're left with 5 as our answer. Number 7, we can do the difference of squares with this. So the square root of 16k squared is 4k. The square root of 1 is 1, so 4k plus 1 and 4k minus 1. We have common factors that cancel, so we're left with 4k minus 1 as our answer. Number 8, we cannot do the difference of squares. We cannot take out a greatest common factor with this. So then we're gonna have to do the slip and slide method like what we did on number 5. So we'll take the 3 and slip it down to the end here. So we have y squared minus 7y, and 3 times -6 is -18. What two numbers multiply to give you -18 and add to give you -7? It's -9 and 2. So we have y minus 9, y plus 2. Because they multiply times 3 up here, here you want to divide by 3. So we have y minus 3. 2/3 does not simplify, so take the denominator and slide it up. So we have 3y plus 2. So these are our two factors here, so we have y minus 3, 3y plus 2, and we're dividing by y minus 3. Same factors here cancel, so we're left with 3y plus 2 as our answer. Okay, flip over to the other side. Okay, we're still doing the same thing, they just wrote it in a different format. So we still want to factor out the numerator. So what multiplies to give you negative 33 and adds to give you 8 is going to be positive 11 and negative 3. So you have C plus 11 and C minus 3. And we're dividing by C minus 3. So those common factors right there will cancel. So we're left with C plus 11. Okay, same thing on number 10. In our numerator here, we can do the difference of squares. So we end up with x plus y and x minus y. And we're dividing by x minus y. Common factors cancel. We're left with x plus y as our answer. On number 11, we have a greatest common factor that we can take out. We can take a 4m out of both terms. So 4m squared divided by 4m is m. Negative 20m divided by 4m is negative 5. Okay, we have common factors that cancel, so we're left with 4m as our answer. On number 12, we can factor out a greatest common factor of 2 out of everything. So 2d squared divided by 2 is d squared. Negative 40 divided by 2 is negative 2d. Negative 70 divided by 2 is negative 35. Okay, so then from there, we actually have, we can factor this again by basic factoring. So what two numbers multiply to give you negative 35 and add to give you negative 2? That's going to be negative 7 and 5. So that 2 that we took out, we'll just bring it down. We have m minus 7 and m plus 5. Oh, and I said m, and those are supposed to be d's right there. Okay, and we are over d plus 5. So our d's plus 5 cancels, and we are left with 2. And then d minus 7. That whole thing is going to be our answer. On 13, we do not have a greatest common factor this time, so we're going to have to do the slip and slide method. So we'll take our 4, slip it down here to the end. So we have p squared minus 3p. 4 times negative 10 is negative 40. What numbers multiply to give you negative 40 and add to give you negative 3? It's going to be negative 8 and 5. So you have p minus 8, p plus 5. Because they multiply times 4 here we have to divide by 4. So you have p minus 2. 5 over 4 does not simplify, so take the denominator, slide it up. So you have 4p plus 5. Okay, so we have p minus 2 and 4p plus 5, and we are dividing by p minus 2. Factors cancel. We're left with 4p plus 5 as our answer here. Okay, same thing on these. Well, actually, let's look at 15 because that's a grouping method one. So we want to cut it in half. What can we take out of the first terms here? We can take an x squared out. So we're left with x minus y. Out of the second half, what can we take out? We can take a negative 6 out, and we are left with x minus y. We can put those two terms together, so we have x squared minus 6, and when we have x minus y, and we are dividing by x minus y. Okay, these factors here are the same, so cancel. So we're left with x squared minus 6 as our answer. Okay, on 17, it says a rectangle has an area of 12m squared minus 7m minus 10. If the width of the rectangle is 3m plus 2, write an expression to represent the length of the rectangle in simplest form. Well, area equals length times width. So if we have, if we're looking for our length here, then that means we're dividing both sides by the width. So you just take the area and divide it by the width. So we're saying 12m squared minus 7m minus 10 divided by 3m plus 2. So you want to start off by factoring the numerator here. So we're going to have to do our slip and slide method. So we have m squared minus 7m, and then 12 times negative 10 is going to be negative 120. Okay, then what two numbers multiply to give you negative 120 and add to give you negative 7? Okay, well, let's see, we have, that's 2 over 3. Let's see, let's look at our list. And remember, you can get that list on your calculator. If you had downloaded the calculator that I asked y'all to download on the TI-84 Plus on that link that I sent y'all, y'all can go to the y equals and take -120 and divide it by x. And then it's going to show you all the numbers that multiply together to give you -120. And so you just have to go through it and figure out which of those is going to add together to give you -7. Let's see, let me pull up my calculator real quick. Let's see. Well, it's taking a second for the calculator to pull up. So hold on 1 second. And the computer's being super slow. So hold on 1 second. Okay, I finally got it. So we have y equals, and then we have -120 divided by x, and then you're going to go to the table after that. So you hit second graph. Okay, so going through this list here, the numbers that are going to add together to give you -7, we have 8 and -15. Okay, so that means that we're going to have m plus 8 and m minus 15. And so then from there, since we multiplied by 12 here we're going to divide by 12. So we want to simplify down our fractions. So 8 over 12, they both divide by 4. So that's m plus 2/3. And 15 over 12, they both divide by 3. So it's m minus 5/4. Okay, we don't want fractions, so we're going to get rid of our denominator by moving it up. So we have 3m plus 2 as one factor, and we have 4m minus 5 as the other factor, and we are still dividing by 3m plus 2. So our common factors here will cancel, and so our length is going to be 4m minus 5. It's going to be our final answer. Okay, and then if you want to do the challenge problem here, you can. I'm just going to tell you the answer. So if you want to work through that problem, you're going to get down to the answer as v minus 6 is going to be your final answer. So work through it if you would like to, and then you can check your answer by this right here. Okay. All right. So this is dividing polynomials by a binomial.